Intense pressure is being applied on the Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu to reach a ceasefire deal with Gaza amidst all of the uncertainty that's happening. Now, more reports are coming that the United States administration is applying more and more pressure on him to reach a deal. The delegation of Israel extended its stay in Doha following more talks with the United States administration. Hamas confirms that they're still talking with the United States representatives directly and indirectly in Doha. And today, the Israeli Prime Minister had a security briefing with the opposition leader, Yair Lapid. This is the first report that we will start off with in this video. Hostage deal can be made at any time, Lapid says, following a security update. This security update usually happens in Israel when there is a very significant development politically, and the prime minister must go and reach out to the opposition leader to give him a security briefing in relation to the latest security and political developments. And this time, it's of course in relation to Gaza. Yair Lapid, from his side, after they met, he came up with a statement saying that I came out of a security update with Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu, and what I can say is that a hostage deal can be made. We are one cabinet decision away from a deal. I reminded the Prime Minister, you have no political problem. I will give you a full political safety net for the hostage deal. Bring them home now, he concluded. Now, Yair Lapid previously gave Benjamin Netanyahu a security network for his government in case some of his traditional allies, especially the extreme right, want to withdraw from the government if Benjamin Netanyahu reaches an agreement. However, Benjamin Netanyahu decided not to go ahead with the proposal of Yair Lapid, although the proposal now from the tone of the opposition leader in Israel is somewhat reassuring, saying that you wouldn't have any problem. He could be offering the Israeli Prime Minister a safety net up until even the next elections. Now, this is confirming several things. Number one, it's Israel confirming that it is the obstacle. If the opposition leader is saying when one cabinet meeting away from reaching a deal, that means Israel is delaying reaching a deal, not Hamas, not the mediators, and not even the United States. Therefore, it's Benjamin Netanyahu. Now, is Benjamin Netanyahu likely to reach a deal? Not if it consists a declaration to end the war. Now, according to multiple reports, Steve Witkoff came with a new proposal. Now, the proposal is reach a 90-day ceasefire during which the Palestinians will get aid and they will get medicine, they will get the things that they need, but no declaration for the ending of the war. During this period, the sides are supposed to talk about the ending of the war, Israel withdrawing from Gaza. Benjamin Netanyahu doesn't want any deal to include a declaration to end the war. However, from the statements that we heard from Hamas, from the statements that we heard from the mediators and from the Americans and from the Israelis, all sides are open to this ceasefire. Why? Because Hamas said, we released Aidan Alexander because we had developments in talks with the United States. This was a gesture from our end, and we are expecting the United States to apply pressure on Israel. According to a senior leader in Hamas, Trump administration, they promised the Hamas delegation that Donald Trump will actually thank Hamas for the release. That didn't happen. And also immediately call Israel to have a ceasefire. That also didn't happen publicly. However, there is pressure. Now, is this pressure going to reach a deal? Probably. Benjamin Netanyahu said we might be reaching a deal soon, but we will not be ending the war. Hamas said we can reach a deal so long as during that deal there will be talks to finalize everything and declare an ending of the war. Likewise, with the mediators and the United States administration, all of them are open for that option. So Benjamin Netanyahu has a very high likelihood of accepting a deal, especially following the intense pressure, the intense escalation, and also the confirmation of increased pressure coming from the United States. You have many in the administration of the United States, even Democrat senators, telling Benjamin Netanyahu and Israel that they need to reach a ceasefire, won't allow Israel to starve Gaza, and that they need to reach a deal. Not only that, Israel started from now to portray as if, we finished the operation inside of the Gaza Strip. And these reports are similar to previous reports when Israel wanted to justify reaching a deal. For example, there was this report here in Ynet saying that Brigade 16 completed its operations in the northern Gaza and it destroyed more than 600 infrastructures. Now, they're saying that we took all of the infrastructure down, most of it. Some of them are saying, some other reports are saying that Hamas is losing control. Now, if you look at this report, you think, oh, okay, well, fine. If they finish the operation, then we can actually reach a deal. They're not doing that because it's a description of reality. They're doing that to reassure the Israeli public. Those who still fall for all of this talk in the media, from their politicians, from everyone really, because the trust levels in the administration and the political and military leadership in Israel is at a record low, an all-time low in the history of the state of Israel. However, they're doing that to try and show that we can reach a deal. That, of course, does not reflect reality whatsoever. The Palestinian resistance just had another ambush, and this time in Al-Shuja'iyya area. Now, the Palestinian resistance has been releasing videos of its ambushes in past weeks, and they were primarily in the area of Rafah. Now, however, they are publishing more footage coming from the Al-Shuja'iyya area about an ambush that Israel confirmed killed 2 of its senior figures in the Israeli army. This is a very important development, and this is also a reflection of the reality that's happening inside of the Gaza Strip. Israel is not finishing any operation successfully. Israel is forced to have some of these reports to show the Israeli public that, oh, look, now we can withdraw from Gaza. Now we can have a temporary ceasefire because we finished the operation. However, that does not reflect reality whatsoever. The Palestinian resistance had this operation. They've had other operations too, and they're publishing them on a regular basis, sometimes multiple times a week. We've had 3 in 1 week. This is another one now, 4 in 8 days in total. These are from the ambushes that they are conducting against the Israeli terror forces inside of the Gaza Strip. Now, Trump, of course, is in the Gulf, and he made statements. He's still making statements. And now he's saying again that he wants to turn Gaza into a free zone again. Wants to take Gaza and turn it into a freedom zone. He's saying that in the UAE. He wants it to be a free place, remove the occupiers. Trump is still pushing for a ceasefire. One of the greatest reasons that Donald Trump did not meet Benjamin Netanyahu is the fact that Benjamin Netanyahu did not confirm that he is willing to go and have a ceasefire. That's why he did not see him. And he refused to go and visit Israel, although generally in normal times, Donald Trump and any American president that visits the region, they always visit Israel. Even the indirect flights from Riyadh to Tel Aviv in many cases. This is coming with more tensions between Ansarullah in Yemen and Israel. Yemen is the only active front outside of the Gaza Strip, and they are still conducting attacks. Today they shut down Ben Gurion again. Ben Gurion Airport is getting shut time after time in the past few weeks. 3 airlines had to go back and then delay their landing. According to Israel, they took down this missile outside of the Israeli atmosphere. It was intercepted, but parts of the missile were found in Gush Atzion, which is in the central part of Israel. So Ansarullah declared that they carried out an operation, and they also declared that they will be intensifying their operations. Israel is saying that Arrow 3 intercepted this missile. However, hundreds of thousands were outside celebrating what they call Lag BaOmer. Many of them were in parties too. They had to evacuate. However, the effect is there. These people are in panic mode because they are still facing all of these attacks coming from Ansarullah, who are vowing to continue and expand their military operations against Israel. Yemen declared that it increased its operations several weeks back after Donald Trump declared that they reached an agreement with them. Now they said we're expanding the operation to have an aerial siege, and therefore they're conducting all of these operations against Israel. Now Trump is saying that, oh, actually they did not really ask for a ceasefire. He made a statement in which he said, no, it wasn't actually Ansarullah who asked for a ceasefire. Clearly, the Americans went and asked for it because they were getting attacked. They were getting attacked for protecting Israel in the Red Sea, protecting a genocide state. And even in media in the United States as well, they're saying like Trump's ceasefire with the Houthis was a win, just not the kind of win that he says it was. Well, of course, it was a win over the United States for the Houthis or for Ansarullah. Donald Trump, of course, tried to portray it in a way that projects power and victory for the United States. However, he wasn't very successful with that, especially with the repeated evidence that came from Yemen that they were targeting all of the aircraft carriers of the United States constantly ever since they began the genocide coalition to support Israel and its ships sailing in the Red Sea. This is coming with more statements coming from the United States administration, this time from, well, the pro-Israeli Marco Rubio, saying that I'm concerned about the suffering in Gaza. You see, we were talking about the statements, the tone changing, and criticize, of course, as much as you like, now, not before, you've been participant. There's a change. This man is supposed to be a man who doesn't say a word, right? We're concerned, like that's some change. However, there is nothing to confirm. There's nothing to confirm yet that there's a breakthrough. The only thing we have is very intense talks, very intense pressure, and quite frankly, empty promises coming from the United States administration. Now, were Hamas naive to believe the United States, or are we going to see some results in the next few days? There are options to reach results. As a matter of fact, Netanyahu himself said that we might actually go into a temporary ceasefire, but without declaring an end of the war. And again, Yair Lapid today said that we're one cabinet meeting away from a ceasefire, confirming that it is Israel who is delaying the ceasefire and reaching a ceasefire. Now, the tone is changing, and the tone is also changing in Europe, bit by bit, But to call Israel a genocidal state? Nah, that's something new. We have the first European leader, the first country leader in Europe to call Israel a genocidal state. And that is none other than the Spanish premier calling Israel a genocidal state. And Spain does not do business with it. Why did he say that? He said that because some were accusing him of still conducting business with Israel. To which he replied, Spain does not conduct business with a genocidal state. Finally, someone calling them by their right definition, a genocidal entity. What is so difficult about that? If you go to the dictionary, you find what the word genocide means, typical. Unless, of course, you want to change the dictionary and you want to play around with the English language and modify it to suit your political opinion or ideology, or your master's political opinion or ideology. But this is coming with a shift that is happening generally. Some of the European leaders having more positions that are criticizing the genocidal state and also more supportive of the Palestinians. And this is important. Now, moving on to the final bit that I wanted to talk to you about, which is somewhat entertaining. Itamar Ben Gvir, Minister of National Security, he went to Bet Shemesh. Bet Shemesh is an area full of Orthodox Jews. And many of these Orthodox Jews are anti-Zionists. As you can see from these flags here, these are Palestinian flags painted on walls that the Israeli forces later sprayed with white paint. Why? Because it's illegal to raise the Palestinian flag in the only democracy in the Middle East, Israel. And this man was the man who banned it. Now, why is he going to Beit Shemesh, an area where there are movements like Neturei Karta and other anti-Zionist Jewish movements in very big numbers? He's a psychopath. He wants to go there to prove a point. But it wasn't only a visit. There were confrontations, and not just with him, but also with his wife, who slapped a woman. Now, thankfully, there were some videos being published about this visit that came from Itamar Ben Gvir to the area. There were also multiple reports in Israel about this visit. But the video was quite interesting, and let me share the video quickly with you.
להתקדם לשם. יש לי... אני צלם עיתונות, אני צריך להביא מהאוטו.
טוב, תשמור,
אני שומר לך, בטח אני שומר.
תגיד שאני לא יכול באירוע כזה
אתה יכול לכוון עליי נשק אבל.
אל תגיד לי מה אני יכול מה לא, אבל אתה, אם אתה עיתונאי, בבקשה לשמור מאיתנו.
5 מטר, אין בעיה.
רוצה לצאת מאחור. שנה בבית שמש, והפכו לו חסה, אין דבר כזה. יורי, זרוק לימון, תפזר, זרוק לימון. למעלה, יורי למעלה. קדימה.
תקשיב, סזר, שנמצאים פה, לדחוף למעלה. סזר,
יורי, תביא לי עוד תאים עכשיו למעלה. עצור! דקה. בן.
קדימה. הנה, רדת מוכנה כבר.
רגע, תגיד שפה על הפרק.
אתה יכול לצאת.
לעלות למעלה?
So as you can see, the man is a psychopathic individual, really, going there deliberately in a Jewish majority area, an anti-Zionist Jewish majority area, people who are pro-Palestinian, raising Palestinian flags and displaying Palestinian flags as well, just to prove a point. And he's pretending like he's waving at some of them. And did you see the amount of violence, by the way? Stun grenades, kicking people, arresting people, and it didn't stop there. There was another report and video as well of his wife slapping a woman, literally slapping a woman directly in the face because she was approaching her. And the video shows clearly that, well, it wasn't necessarily any act of violence coming from that woman who was approaching her, but she was only approaching her trying to tell her something. And the wife of Ben Gurion, she slapped her, like we can see in this video. So our outright violence coming from his wife directly, at least. Him, well, he's surrounded by, of course, these forces next to him, kicking people around just for protesting against him. And he's going there trying to prove a point. This is the mentality of Benjamin Netanyahu's allies in the government, going there trying to impose their will in every area. And they constantly speak about Judaism. This man's party is called Jewish Power, for example. However, when he goes to a Jewish area, the way to be Jewish, which is anti-Zionist, he goes there and he gets all of this protesting against him, showing an outright refusal for him and his policies. And these people, by the way, are constantly targeted by the Israeli forces. Many of them are beaten, abused, and imprisoned too. And despite all of the Israeli attempts to silence them, to take their movement down, they fail time after time, and they still protest against him.